Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene set in Vampire the Requiem, a Requiem for London. Tonight, we set the scene in a King's College on the Waterloo campus in Lambeth, just across the Waterloo Bridge, adjacent to the National Theatre. Much less clinical affair here. Much more, how to say, much more of humanities on the Waterloo side. As Heartwell flails in rage. You sent a message to a colleague or down the grapevine to Hellmuth. But I haven't been able to reach him immediately. Or rather, you have gotten no response. But however, the individual that... Oh dear. Heartwell has obfuscated from the scene. What an intro. 10 out of 10 intro. Oh dear.
There we go. Sorry, I had to fix my internet connection. Sorry, what were you... Yes, Lambeth. Lambeth!
It's okay. We're knocking this intro out of the park. It's great. 11 out of 10 with intro again. But yes, the individual that was delegated to send a message along, given the current state of affairs, was a young Sworn of the Axe. As the Sworn of the Mysteries have taken to using the Sworn of the Axe to act as courier for delicate information between them. Particularly for those who are more isolated than some of the more secure, although like yourself, Heartwell, who have yet to feel the more violent effects of this conflict, or are in a less diplomatically sensitive position. The individual in question has agreed to meet with you after you reach out to them, seemingly a bit more dogged in your pursuit of contacting Hellmuth than they expected, and well, you are quite well respected, and they're quite happy to make time for you. Although their time is admittedly limited as a Sworn of the Axe. But they have made the time. And they're meeting you in the conservatory of the Waterloo campus. Her name is Rachel Brassard. She's a gangrel.
Alexander will arrive 10 minutes early for their little meeting. He will find a comfortable place to seat himself and will do so.
Good evening, Heartwell.
Miss Brassett, my apologies. Time does seem to get away from us, as it were. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. He will extend a hand.
She will shake it. She's got a firm grip to her.
Bishop, because my internet's being a little crappy, do you mind rolling 9 dice for me as I auspex to this person?
Yeah, sure.
I get 1 for free. I might as well use it.
Oh, only 1 success. Unfortunate. Still, 1 success isn't the worst, I suppose. You actually succeed.
Where is Hellmuth?
You can't ask that question of her. The question has to be about her. So you could ask a question: does she know where Hellmuth lives, or where his haven is?
Does she? Yes. Does she
But if
know
you
where
wanted
Hellmuth
to-
lives?
The beast reaches out once more. And the large windows behind her overlooking the rest of London, a few stories up. Paints a blood red image of her slipping a letter through the letterbox of rather upper scale looking house.
Would I be able to identify like the neighborhood or anywhere like that?
No, the windows only show you the house, and the sort of perspective is almost from across the road, directly looking at the front door of the house. So you know what the house looks like, but it wouldn't tell you that you don't really get an idea of where the neighborhood is.
Is she
But
dressed
you
the
would-
same
you
as
would-
she? Sorry, you continue.
You would wager she probably knows where he is, or at least knows that this is a place to go to contact him. So one of the other.
So, my dear Miss Brassett, you have received my request, no doubt.
Yes, I delivered the information within the night. I've revisited the location a couple of times. Usually there's a response waiting, but I've yet to receive one.
I see. Nosferatu, they can be so socially shy.
He's been very cagey since the Sanctified attacked, although he's, from personal experience, he's always been a very jittery man. Always on edge.
Quite so.
Yeah. Always gave
Terrible
the impression
shame.
he was carrying some sort of Well, pardon?
Oh no, he just said terrible shame. I couldn't. Terrible shame that he's so cagey. Basically, sorry. Continue.
Yes, and now I'm running courier for about a quarter of the order, so.
I quite understand. When was the last time you received communication from Mr. Hellmuth? If you'd be so kind as to enlighten me.
Well, I I ran communications between mysteries and about 3 or 4 other ordo from different branches. With Hellmuth, I received last time I delivered anything for him was about a week ago.
Bishop, she said she'd been here. She'd been at Hellmuth's place or the drop-off place tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna spirits touch her shoes.
Okay.
Would you mind rolling the exact same pool for me?
Well, 3 successes. You can ask 3 questions about the shoes.
Or I can ask 3 questions about where the shoes have been recently.
Yeah, stuff like that. Stuff about the shoes.
Yes. This is London. Actually, important question. Does she have keys physically on her person?
She's dressed as she is in the overlay. Longish, wavy hair. It's actually done up into a ponytail for her, though. But she's just wearing a necklace, a vest, some jeans.
All right.
She
So my
might
first
have keys
question
on
for
her,
the
but they're probably in her pockets if they are.
Okay. My first question for the shoes is actually going to be really simple. Have you been in a car tonight?
You receive a positive affirmation inside of your head.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Does this place have a parking garage?
That's a good question. So it has a car park, but not a parking garage.
Okay. He'll say, it is of the most dire import. Actually, no, I'll ask the other 2 questions of the shoes. Can I ask the shoes to identify? No, the shoes wouldn't know that. What else can I ask shoes? How does it feel to be made by Korean labor, by Korean sweatshop labor, or Vietnamese sweatshop labor? No.
Sad
Let me
livery
think. What else
things.
can I ask? Sad memories. Anyway, what else can I ask a pair of shoes?
Actually, just trying to look up the examples to see if I can help you out here. Let's see. Yeah, so you can say who last touched onus. What is the strongest emotion associated with this object? What's the object being used for at the point of strongest emotion, etc., etc. Okay.
Let me think. How many steps have the shoes taken since she left Hellmuth's door?
Ooh. Your mind receives the sensation of running, of a brief vision of Rachel kicking off a wall, climbing up a building, running around the back alley. These visions sort of blur together, and the footsteps sort of become very scattered, overlapping, and myriad. It's not a particularly pleasant sound. It's vaguely irritating. But the visions could go on for a very long time if they didn't fade away. You get the sense that she has done a lot of running around of these shoes since doing her errand for you and Hellmuth.
I'm curious then, my dear Miss Brassett, do you have any idea where this individual is? It is of the most utmost importance that I have a private word with him. And I cannot stress utmost importance enough.
I'm afraid I'm prohibited from providing that information. I can't provide any details as to locations of how I get into contact with the kindred I communicate with or where they may reside. Same, of course, applies to yourself.
Oh, absolutely. He leans in very, very, very close, and he will say, what about if there were incredible extenuating circumstances? Bishop? Chris? Have I died? Has Discord died? Or has Thing died?
This may have been a problem on my end. I didn't hear you. Where did I get to? Did I cut out? Oh, Evan?
Yeah, you cut out. When I turned around to her and I basically said, you'd stop talking, and I said, she said she couldn't possibly give out the information. And my response was, what about if it was in incredible extenuating circumstances?
So, yeah, she looks a bit confused and asks for clarification. She looks slightly anxious, and you can clearly gauge that she's not really sure if you're trying to bribe her or or if you're being genuine. But she looks slightly caught off guard.
Bishop, I'm going to spend a point of blood because I'm a paranoid mofo to activate Uject to have a quick look-see around the spiritual plane of this room.
Okay.
Come at me out, bastards. Bishop, I think you may have crashed again.
Hello?
There you go.
Hello? Yeah, it's getting annoying. Alright, the spirit of the coffee machine, for whatever reason, appears very happy.
I make a mental note to make friends with that spirit. I mean, he'll then make sure my frappy mochaccino is just as I want it.
She's it's taken on the form of a waitress that is just sitting behind the till and with a tray and two mugs of coffee on the tray, and but other than a particularly animated coffee machine spirit, there isn't anything of particular note. There is no serious spiritual presence in this place. You reckon the coffee machine spirit exists there purely due to the use of the machine itself. It's probably frequently used if it's drawn a spirit to it.
Miss Brassett, allow me to ask you a very important and very pointed question, because frankly, I have no time for games. Are you aware of wait, actually, I have to confirm. This guy, Hellmuth, the guy I was looking for, why was I looking for him again? Why was he of interest to the Royal Society of Fuck the Owls, which is what I call us in my headcanon?
Hellmuth was noted by your sire to be suspected of having information pertaining to the owls, but he had never located Hellmuth and had been pursuing other avenues at the time, so he's been unable to pursue him directly. In addition, he did note it. He did note it as odd that the Kurgan also seemed to express an interest, something that Constantine found suspicious, but wasn't able to confirm.
Miss Brassett, I would be entirely blunt. For the record, he looks at her and he knocks down the sunglasses to show the slate black eyes. Have fun with that. He will say, I'm here on a very important piece of business. Mr. Hellmuth has information that my sire, Master Constantine, desires. We are currently in a detente with the circle of the crone. We have a common enemy and a common purpose, and I fear Mr. Hellmuth may have gotten himself involved in the dealings of entities that he cannot and does not understand, shall we say, certain nocturnal birds.
The black eyes cause her anxiety to peak slightly, and you can see that stretch all across her face. She sort of leans back when you reveal your eyes, and what do you think's happened?
I don't know. I believe he has found some information that they may have targeted him for. I am intending and going to attempt to keep him safe. I think and I fear that is why he may have fled, and he is pursued by an enemy so implacable, so unknowable, that he will not get very far.
Roll me your manipulation plus persuasion to convince her.
Can I add my order status?
Yes, you can.
I do have those stats. I just need to check what they are. Manipulation or persuasion. I have persuasion 1. I have a manipulation of 2. I have an order status of 1. Do I get an equipment bonus because these eyes are freaking freaky?
That would be intimidation. You can attempt to intimidate her instead, which you would get an additional dice because of your eyes, and of course still the +1 from your auto status.
Is intimidation its own skill, or what does it fall under? It is. Nah, I'll roll persuasion. He's trying to be nice about this.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to make enemies.
Yeah. Pretty much. Intimidation has a higher chance of success, but it's she'll be less cooperative later down the line.
I'll spend a PowerPoint. I have a success.
Okay, so
He knocks the glasses back up in his nose, by the way.
well, we among the Axe have been ordered not to take any risks when it comes to this. And she sort of has a brief sort of inner conflict of herself. Not entirely sure what to say or what to do, but it ends within a few seconds. I suppose whatever risk that would be taken from putting you in touch with Hellmuth is far less than what would be the case if he was possessed.
Quite true.
If he is in trouble, then you're better equipped to deal with it than I am.
Also true.
The Axe. The Axe respects Constantine in that he is skilled at his particular mission? Okay. I shouldn't do this. But if you are that concerned, then I will take you to him. Or at least, I'll take you to know where I know to go.
Let me phrase it like this, my dear. Myself and Hellmuth will have a conversation. It will be civil, it will be polite, and I will ascertain if he is indeed himself and what dangers he may be facing. If my sire were to do this, there would be no conversation involved. It would be uniquely unpleasant. I would rather one of our organization not have to go through such.
Better that than risk his destruction or possession. Just so you know, though, this is... I'm cutting a lot of red tape here, so... If we could keep this between us, I'd appreciate it.
Quite so. I entirely understand. If it helps, as he stands up and he says, if something happens this evening, you'll be known as the axe who helped to slay an owl, and that's good for making a reputation.
I'd rather not face them at all, but I appreciate the vote of confidence.
Lead the way.
She stands up. She's been fidgeting with her hands the whole time, and she will begin to walk out of the complex with you. She'll take you over to her vehicle. It is the most mundane of cars. It is something that could not appear less less ostentatious if it tried. But she will drive you on over to her to the house that you saw in your vision that your bee showed you.
As we walk towards the house, because fuck it, why not? Bishop, I can spirit touch the building, can't I?
Yes, you're heading down to Vauxhall, so it's not that far away really at all. It's still in the same borough, probably around 5 to 10 minutes, depending on traffic. But you approach the house. Again, it's a fairly upper scale looking house for London. Completely detached off the main road. It's not a place you'd picture a Nosferatu living in. Then again, a Nosferatu It's not as if a clan lacks wealth.
I mean,
It just appears mildly pleasant. It is just that the clan, well, this house appears this mildly pleasant compared to the clan's noteworthy penchant for displeasure. But you can spirit touch the house, yes. That's did you roll them 9 dice?
I'll do so now. I just have to answer a thing. Oh, I asked it myself and rolled them. Wow, Evan. Wow, only one success again. Today sucks.
Oh, only one success. So you can ask a question regarding the house.
Here's the question I will ask. How did Hellmuth last leave this building? Because I've got a theory that he was dragged out or brought out.
Your vision of reward once again fades away for a moment to someone you don't recognize or don't get a clear view of, sort of a sidelong view of them, exiting the house, pocketing a plastic bag of ashes into their coat.
You'll see Alexander stop and sigh as he turns to what was her name again?
Rachel Brassard.
I fear, Miss Brassard, we're already too late.
She raises an eyebrow and tenses up. What do you mean?
Maquette have an odd sense of things, don't you know? Very well. Alexander walks towards the door and he says, I recommend standing back.
Oh, no, wait. She's, she gets out of the car. She, and walks up to the door with you, I presume.
Yeah.
She looks around, just spot for me. She's actually going to take a few picks out of her pocket and begin picking the lock on the door.
I do that thing where I spot.
Yeah. Are a lot of people around. Most of the curtains are closed. This is a fairly sedate neighborhood. She's got a roll, though. She's actually pretty good at this. Oh, she almost gets an exceptional success. Oh yeah, she actually gets an additional dice. Only one additional dice, to be fair, because it's not a kit. Oh wow, she gets an exceptional success. Yeah, she puts the lock into the door, rotates it, and opens the door almost instantly. It takes her the better part of 5 seconds.
Alexander looks down there and goes, I may have to find some way to second you to a staff. I need a staff. Make a mental. He makes a mental note. He needs a staff.
She's going to. She shushes you. She sort of slowly opens the door.
Mm-hmm.
You see her fingernails grow into claws as she does so. and she's surprisingly light on her feet for someone who is quite broad and muscular.
Mm-hmm. I will enter in behind. Ujet is still activated, by the way. So, you know, if there's anything spiritually weird, let me know.
There is nothing that is immediately strikes you as you enter. You first enter the porch and then into the living room. The living room is fairly small. Do you want to make me a wits plus composure check? Plus your blood potency.
What is this check for? Is it to notice something? Oh, it's to notice blood, isn't it? 3 successes.
Okay. You do detect the faint smell of blood here. 3 successes. You can tell that it is very thin, and there is the slightest smell of bleach and other industrial chemicals. This place has been scrubbed. There is no signs of struggle in the living room. Just past the living room, there is it's literally just a sofa, two chairs, a TV sitting on a mini table, which has a bunch of which is like a mini cupboard that has a DVD player and an electronic LP player in it. But just to the back of the living room, there is a sort of sliding double doors, which leads to a small dining room, and there's a little archway that leads, as an open archway that leads into the kitchen, off to the back right-hand side of the dining room. Immediately to the right of the living room, on the far right side, there's a set of stairs that lead up to the first floor of the building.
Where is the smell of blood strongest?
It's difficult to immediately say. It takes you a little bit to actually get your bearings. This is unusual for you, unusual for any kindred, really. This place was very, very, very thoroughly scrubbed clean, but you can trace the scent upstairs. It's very thin. There's probably not much blood in the house.
So yeah, he will basically he taps his nose twice towards his companion and just kind of moves upstairs.
Yeah, you can tell that she's caught onto it as well, but doesn't have the sense of direction that you have. And will follow you. She will, when you kind of begin to walk towards the stairs, she will take point for you. The stairs, it's light-footed as both of you try to move, creak unceremoniously as you head up them. Takes you past the first couple of rooms. First is bathroom. Looks like there are 2 bedrooms. One of the descent appears to be leading you into one of the bedrooms. Bedroom sort of midway off to the right side.
Okay,
Of
in we go.
You open the door. Do you want to make me another wits plus composure check? It's gonna be a pretty heavy dice penalty.
Do I get to add my blood potency?
Yes, you can. It's a -5 dice penalty, but you do get +2 dice from your blood potency, so it is only a -3 dice penalty to your wits plus composure. She will roll as well. She's...
2 successes.
Oh, well done. Oh. Oh, wow. There are almost no signs of struggle here at all. There is almost no environmental damage. It's actually quite unsettling just how little the appearance, how little there appears to be of the appearance of a struggle. The scent here of blood is strongest, though. You can smell it just to the right of the bed, not far from where you entered at all, really. It's just like 3 or 4 paces ahead of you. There are prints in the floor here. It's sort of where a chair leg would have been sitting for some time, as if it had just sat there for months and sort of dug into the floor over time as weight had been applied to it. But instead, they appear to be shoe prints. They appear to be human-looking prints and 2 ovalish-looking prints. Looks like someone may have been on their knees.
So he may have been what, sir?
Looks like someone may have been forced to their knees here. With your kindred senses, you can sense that you can literally see the vitae here. It is incredibly fine. No mortal could see this. You're kind of seeing at a microscopic level, really.
I'd like to spirits touch the blood, please.
Okay. Now, funnily enough, you don't really have to. Although... Normally, what Kindred can do is, by merely tasting blood, they can ascertain very fine details about it. Although Spirit's Touch can give you information that such a roll wouldn't normally give. And it is it's microscopic, so the roll would be very difficult. Like, there's so little blood left.
I'll spirit that because I want information from the blood that might not be given by simple tasting.
Yep.
So I will definitely spirits touch it.
Roll me Spirit's Touch. Yes, roll me your average. Yeah, just roll me your full dice pool.
Aha! There's the exceptional success.
Oh, excellent. Then you can just double check, see if you get anything for that. Vampire can fully appreciate the object or place and gains a +1 dice bonus when using or interacting with it for the rest of the scene. So if you do want to taste it, you'll get a +1 dice now. But nice. you have 5 questions to ask.
And I ask these questions because it's a piece of Hellmuth. Can I ask these questions about Hellmuth?
Depends on the question.
Okay. The first one is very obviously going to be who killed... Sorry, you continue.
I was just going to say, it'd probably need to relate to the Vitae in some way, as whatever Hellmuth was is gone. But
Were you
other than that
possessed at the time of your
limitation,
death?
you feel a simple emptiness from your beast, an ambivalence. A negative affirmation.
How long has the blood lain here?
In your vision, you literally see days and nights pass, 3 cycles of the sun and of the moon, in the span of a few seconds.
Did Hellmuth know the person who shed his blood?
You sense Hellmuth's panic and fear before he died. At the core of that panic and fear, as he flees up the stairwell, you can sense as you relive part of his past that fear and panic was born of recognition.
Show me the face of the person who killed you. Or show me the face of the person who shed you.
You can't tell it to do that. You can... That has to be a question.
Okay. Was there anything from a kindred standard? A kindred standard. Now, bear in mind, because he's asking the question from his perspective, and he is an expert on the blood manipulations of kindred. It's actually his scientific specialty, or his medical specialty. It's one of his specialties. Was there anything odd about Hellmuth's blood?
For a moment, you sense the addictive taste of kindred vitae. And perhaps if you were tasting it, it would feel even stronger and more desirable. But
Which suggests
outside
to him
of...
the coil of the voivode, basically, more than likely. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Kindred vitae is by its very nature addictive. It could be the coil of the voivode. Oh, one moment, sorry.
You take your time.
You sense his vitae. It is addictive. It had some age to it. It's like tasting a fine aged wine mixed with narcotics. It shouldn't taste good, but it does. These are merely sensations swimming around in your head.
The last question I have. I leave it actually, Bishop, because I'm not exactly sure what would be a good final question if you had to pick one. Because I'm trying to think. I'm trying to cover an angle, and Alexander would probably know more than Evan does. So I'm just trying to think what would be a good last question.
Let's see. You could ask who shed this blood upon the floor, or who was present when this blood was shed upon the floor.
Oh yes, let's go with let's go. Who was present when this blood was shed upon the floor?
You receive yet another vision. I'm just going to get up. Okay. So this vision this memory to extinguished that belongs to this extinguished vitae that the beast brings you to. Brings you in much deeper than your prior visions did. You feel your consciousness from the physical world slip away almost entirely. For the briefest of moments, you see Hellmuth. He is as ugly as you would have imagined him to be. You can feel the effects of the kindred bite upon him, that he is desperately resisting. You see him flailing up at the ceiling, even with his enormous strength, the strength of the Nosferatu clan. He cannot break free. He is trying to speak, but his throat is being crushed. And you can only hear a few garbled, incoherent words. Him spluttering as he says, he won't tell. He won't tell. And then a third time as his throat is fully severed from the rest of his body, from the crushing strength of this woman as she rises above you. For the briefest moment, it is as if she is looking directly at you.
What color are her eyes?
They are a simple brown in coloration.
Curses.
But you know, of course, that the infamous eyes of a Strix are not always visible. In fact, most of the time they aren't. This could just be one of those situations. It usually requires a very specific light, or the Strix revealing their own nature in order for the eyes to become visible. In this sort of lighting, it is entirely normal that if she were possessed, it is more than likely that the golden eyes of the Strix would not manifest.
And do I need to roll to identify that woman, or because he has an idea who she is, but I don't know if I need to roll to identify the
You don't
Kog'Ile?
even need to roll politics to know this woman. This is the Kogan. This is Kitono Mukai, the leader of the Swarm of the Axe. Their champion.
He stands up.
Her body...
Oh no, you continue. Sorry.
Her body is, or rather, her face from her mouth to all the way down her neck to the clothes upon her torso, which are really just loose-fitting black clothes, are just completely covered in blood. But outside of that, there is nothing else. There is no injuries upon her at all. She appears completely unharmed. And she simply rises as she wipes the sinew away from her mouth, and the vision ends.
Can I tell, because I did see the action, did she diablerize him or no?
She appeared to drain him of his vitae, but she then crushed his throat to sever his head from his body. So decapitation. Likely not a dabblery, although possibly.
Alexander sighs very softly before his companion... Oh, by the way, is his floor in his bedroom, is the floor carpeted, or is it wooden floor?
It's carpeted. It's taken some damage though. The floorboards have probably been damaged slightly where the struggle took place.
Yeah, you'll see him take out a knife. He's going to cut a little small panel of that carpeting out that contains the blood. He will turn and smile towards his companion, and he will simply say, "Next, my dear, in my investigations, I require a meeting. I assume that the axe, because you're so relentlessly professional." I'm trying to think. Yes.
What? Why? What happened? You sort of zoned out for half a minute there. And actually, when your vision, when your senses do return to you, her face has changed substantially. She has feline features on her face. She has been looking around the room.
He will say, actually, important question, Bishop. I am an occultist, and I am a very good occultist. But not only that, I am an occultist who can see the spiritual resonance of things. And in this game, particularly emotionally resonant items gain a spiritual presence. I'm wondering, does this guy have a safe, a hidden place, compartment, etc., that has an item in it that would ping under Ujet to show it was particularly significant to him or particularly powerful?
No, not particularly. This place has a very thin spiritual... Rather, you can sense that it might have had one at some point. You can... There is the thinnest amount of... I wouldn't say residue, but... something here. You can't really put your finger on what it might have been, but whatever it was, it's definitely not present anymore. It doesn't appear to be of anything in particular either.
He smiles and he'll say, I require your assistance one last time, it would seem, my dear, in order to answer certain questions. Our dear Mr. Hellmuth is indeed deceased, unfortunately. I did not reach him in time, it would seem. However, I now have another query for you. Where will the axe? If I wish to speak to representatives, which chapter house would I go to tonight?
Well, there's a gymnasium not too far from here. That's one of our chapter houses in particular.
Wonderful. I unfortunately will require a brief face-to-face meeting. I must inform our senior leadership of this individual's death and present them with evidence. It could be vitally important to understand.
Okay. Sure. I've been trying to. I mean, I'm not sure what you were doing, but I've been trying to. I've been turning this place upside down. This place has been scrubbed pretty clean. There's no electronics here either. No computer or anything. No phone.
Impeccably clean.
Which means
This
they
was
were
an
probably
excellent
looking for. Yeah, whoever came here. Well, they certainly know how to get in quietly. And, from what I can tell, they were looking for something that Hellmuth knew.
Yes.
And if he's
And I
gone,
fear he
then
died for that information.
probably to keep him quiet.
Quite so. Well, come along. The night is drawing on, and I require that conversation before the dawn. Lead the way.
Guess your hunter's right.
Unfortunately, I will offer a prayer for Master Hellmuth.
That's funny.
He says with a kind of a sardonic smile. But Batman to the gymnasium, Bishop. If it helps, I'm about 90% sure I'm going to die, but I'm okay with my death. What would the maquette symbol? It would just be the maquette symbol that comes out and just goes back down, you know, or even better, the head of set, you know.
It's just it's literally just it's literally the head of a jackal that spins, zooming in and out. But no, you're gonna. So are you looking? I assume you want this word with Giorgio. We'll need to talk to Lannister about this.
Right, so. Bishop, I did have a question. What do the Twilight Judges actually do?
Twilight Judges make they basically dictate the law, in the sense that when they basically resolve disputes within their clan, or and legal disputes, and basically when they come to a decision, their word on the matter is considered law, and it cannot be broken. And breaking it is considered an enormous breach of order law. It is not uncommon. In fact, it is fairly common for those that break the law of the Twilight Judges to be ran out of the sect, if not just destroyed.
Is killing another member of the Ordo against the law?
Generally, but the Kogon, of course, can declare
Excellent.
another. Sort of like how a prince can declare someone for death. In theory, they could leverage that power, and their position can make them difficult to assail. But the Ordo is slightly less susceptible to such corruption than sects like the Invictus or the Carthians are. As Twilight Judges are generally independent figures, and are always very high-ranking members within the sect themselves. Of course, there aren't many known Twilight Judges. In fact, there are really none that you can think of outside of Kogan herself.
But anyone has the right to call for a judgment by the Twilight Judges, don't they? Because I remember you saying this in the scene.
Let me.
I tell you what, it's not actually a big deal for this. It's not a big deal for this scene. Basically, he wants to try and have a brief conversation with the Kogan, and that's what he's trying to do, to try and leverage the "I know this, let's share information," or not. In which case, she'll murder him brutally and silently with a chainsaw.
Mm.
Can I point out that being murdered with a chainsaw is my life's ambition?
That's quite alright. You'll be driven to the gymnasium, but funnily enough, it is not the Kogan nor even Lenistaff you'll be meeting with, as both of them are off, needless to say, they're quite busy.
Oh, lovely.
Well, no, you are meeting with this fine fellow. Is the highest ranking member of the Axe that you reach when you reach the gymnasium. The gymnasium itself remains open only to, quote, members. The lights are still on when you approach. And the receptionist at the front recognizes you as members of the Order, or you simply declare your intent and you're allowed in. The prohibited parts of the gymnasium are very much retrofitted for kindred needs. Some of them turned into training areas. You see makeshift obstacle courses that resemble combat arenas. You can even smell quite a lot of vitae as you approach. There has definitely been vitae spilled here, and while you can see members of staff cleaning it up, the smell is near ever present. But you see this.
Didn't my previous character call him a pisshead bitch?
Yes.
Okay. The irony. It's painful. As I walk towards him, Alexander extends a hand, very genially. Ah, good evening.
Evening. To what do I owe the pleasure?
As I roll my spirit's touch, or as I roll my aspects 2. Spending a point of vitae. Wow. Wow. Okay, kids. Guess we're going in rough and ready.
So yikes from me, Jim.
That puts me down to 8 vitae. Can I just spend another point of vitae and roll again? Or is that one of the ones you can only do once a scene?
No, the penalty to this one is that once you start using it more than once, you start having to spend vitae.
Cool.
So
I guess I'll
you can spend
another
vitae
vitae,
task again.
Bring me down to 7. 7. There you go. Behold my swingy dice look.
He'll start talking to you as you ask these questions.
Okay. Yeah. Did this individual know about the murder plot for our dear friend Hellmuth?
You get the sense of complete ambivalence and ignorance.
Excellent. Let me think. Does this individual know where the Kogan is? Kogan? Kogile? Crocodile?
You get the same sensation as before.
Let me think. What is his greatest desire?
Let me find something for you real quick. It is seeing the death of this woman.
Is he also a Nosferatu?
Is
Kinda
that
looks
one
like
of your
one.
questions?
No, I'll ask the question, what is his relation to that person?
You see Flemmer's hands stained in blood, and you feel a sense of hatred and vengeance.
Neato. That's pretty much all the questions I have to ask. When he was alive, what was his favorite type of cheese?
He no longer remembers.
You could have just said cheddar, Bishop. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But yeah, no, Joshua, or not Joshua, but Alexander walks forward and shakes him warmly by the hand.
He looks a bit slighted.
Slighted?
Well, specs can take a short while to work. Just pretty much the only way to figure it out.
Oh,
perhaps he knows.
Alexander smiles.
Particularly since you took 2 Auspex actions.
That's fair.
So the length of time would be noticeable to those who are aware. That is, of course, if he's aware. Perhaps he just doesn't like you, but this is your first meeting.
Knock on the door. But he says, rather busy night, wouldn't you agree? Little bit of this, little bit of that.
Yes, I was just about to head out.
Ah, yes, I'm sure that you're very busy. My apologies. I won't keep you. I have a rather unfortunate piece of information to pass along.
Well, by all means, if you wish, I'll pass it up the chain of command for you.
By all means. The Nosferatu, member of the Circle of Mysteries, by the name of Hellmuth, has unfortunately met final death in his own haven.
There's a brief pause. I cannot say I didn't expect it, but this is a serious security breach.
Why would you say you expected it?
He would have been one of the first that the Sanctified would have sought to destroy.
Oh, it wasn't the Sanctified who killed him. Go, mine, no.
He looks incredibly confused.
He smiles. And you know what? Fuck it. Hey, Bishop, you know how we're going to YOLO Land?
Mm-hmm.
He looks at him and he says, in all realities, my friend, we are dealing with several different yet equally important issues. My dear Mr. Hellmuth died because he had a secret. A very important secret that certain individuals would give and pay very handsomely in order to cover up. Secrets that relate, and he'll say it openly and out loud, secrets that we believe may relate to the owls and their infection within this city.
Elaborate.
Elaborate, well. He came to the attention of my sire, Master Constantine. Perhaps you know him. Charming man. He tends to like to teleport and shadow port around places he probably shouldn't, but that's neither here nor there. Charming individual. For information that he possessed. And yet, on the night I go to communicate with him, in order to bring this information back to those of us whom are even now risking our lives in this conflict. Well, a different conflict. My apologies. Your conflict is just as, or our conflict is just as valid, I suppose. but he is murdered. He has been murdered for 3 nights in his own home as he begged for mercy. And I possess proof. And it was no member of the Sanctified who killed him.
He gestures for you to continue.
He will say, Sorry, 1 second. He will say, this is a matter of such extreme importance as it pertains to our sect, as it pertains to the ability for us to continue our research in in safety and security, that I cannot give you more information. However, you can provide me with the individual whom I can, for on this matter I require the clarity that can only be given via a Twilight Judge, and all the implications that involves.
Currently, the only Twilight Judge within the domain is the Kogan herself.
Then I will happily present my evidence to her.
Very well.
He smiles. If you would be so kind as to facilitate an opportunity whereby this can be arranged, I would be eternally grateful.
If a claim is as serious as you say, then no doubt that the Twilight Judge and the Kogan will respond with all due haste.
I have no doubt. Well, it has been a pleasure to meet you, sir, and I shall wish you a good evening also, because I want to wrap up the scene so Chris can go.
Thank you. I will see you later, Mr. Heartwell.
Delighted.
She'll actually offer you her phone number. If you find yourself in danger, we've been noticing Sanctified Crusaders about as of late.
Wonderful. Well, we shall have to see what we shall do. But I thank you for the offer. This is most kind. I shall not forget it.
Thank you. I think with that, we can end the scene. Thank you both for playing. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye bye.